Welcome to Fast English, where we make learning English exciting and inspiring. Today, I'm going to take you on a thrilling and unforgettable journey, the story of the Titanic. It's a tale of love, loss, survival, and fate, one that captivated the world and became an iconic piece of cinema history. Get ready to dive into the world of the Titanic, where passion meets tragedy, and where the power of human spirit and resilience shines through even in the darkest moments. This story is not only a lesson in history, but also an opportunity to improve your English as we follow the lives of unforgettable characters. Let's begin. The story of Titanic begins in 1912, when the RMS Titanic, the largest and most luxurious ship ever built, set sail on its maiden voyage from Southampton, England, to New York City. Designed by the White Star Line, Titanic was a marvel of engineering. Its creators believed it to be unsinkable, a symbol of the peak of human achievement. Passengers from all walks of life boarded the ship, from the wealthiest people in the world to immigrants seeking a new life in America. The ship was a floating palace, with grand staircases, opulent dining rooms, and state-of-the-art amenities, setting a new standard for luxury travel. As the Titanic began its journey across the Atlantic, we are introduced to two of its main characters, Jack Dawson and Rose DeWitt Bukater. Jack, a poor artist from a small town in Wisconsin, won a third-class ticket to board the Titanic after a lucky poker game in England. He is full of life and adventure, with a carefree attitude that stands in stark contrast to the world of privilege that surrounds him on the ship. Rose, on the other hand, is a young woman of high social standing, traveling with her wealthy fiancé, Cal Hockley, and her overbearing mother, Ruth DeWitt Bukater. Rose feels trapped in her life. Her mother pressures her to marry Cal, a man she does not love, in order to secure their financial future. Rose's life is a prison, and she longs to break free from the constraints of her upper-class upbringing. Their first meeting is by chance. Rose, standing on the edge of the ship, seems ready to jump into the sea, overwhelmed by her life. Jack, witnessing her desperation, rushes to her side and talks her down. Although their first encounter is tense, it sparks something between them. Jack's genuine kindness and carefree attitude stand in stark contrast to the life Rose is being forced to live. She finds herself drawn to him, and they begin to form a secret connection. As the Titanic sails on, we see the growing tension between Rose and her fiancé Cal. Cal is arrogant and possessive, treating Rose as though she is his property. He dismisses her feelings and her desire for independence. Rose's mother, Ruth, is equally controlling, pushing her to marry Cal for financial security, despite Rose's objections. It becomes clear that Rose feels suffocated by the life that has been planned for her. In Jack, she finds someone who sees her as more than just a wealthy young woman, someone who sees her for who she truly is, beyond her status or her family. As their relationship develops, Jack and Rose steal secret moments together, defying the strict social class boundaries that define their worlds. Jack takes Rose to the lower decks of the ship, showing her the lively and carefree life of the third-class passengers. They dance, they laugh, and they experience life without the weight of social expectations. Jack introduces Rose to a world of freedom, where class doesn't matter, and their connection deepens. However, Cal is not oblivious to their growing bond. He becomes increasingly jealous and protective, using his wealth and influence to manipulate situations. He is determined to keep Rose under his control. Meanwhile, Rosie's mother remains focused on her own interests, pushing her daughter to marry Cal, who promises financial stability. But Rose is beginning to see the world differently, and she knows that she cannot live a life dictated by others. As the Titanic continues on its fateful journey, the tension between Jack, Rose, and Cal intensifies. But their story takes a tragic turn when, on the night of April 14th, 1912, the Titanic strikes an iceberg. The ship begins to sink, and the world's most luxurious vessel becomes a floating tomb. The passengers and crew are thrown into chaos as the ship begins to tilt and break apart. The unsinkable ship is sinking, and there is nothing anyone can do to stop it. In the midst of the disaster, Jack and Rose's love is put to the ultimate test. As the ship begins to sink into the icy waters of the Atlantic, Jack and Rose must fight to survive. The chaos on board is unlike anything anyone has ever seen. Lifeboats are filled with women and children first, leaving many men behind to perish in the freezing waters. The ship's crew does their best to maintain order, but panic spreads quickly as the realization sets in that the Titanic is doomed. Jack and Rose fight their way through the crowds, trying to stay together amidst the chaos. At one point, Rose is forced to board a lifeboat without Jack, but she refuses to leave him behind. She climbs back aboard the sinking ship to find him, determined to stay by his side. They find each other once again, and Jack helps Rose onto a piece of floating debris, but there is not enough room for both of them. The final moments of the film are heartbreaking. As the ship sinks deeper into the ocean, Jack urges Rose to never let go of life and to live for the both of them. He promises her that she will survive, and she must live a full and meaningful life. Jack ultimately sacrifices himself, letting go of the debris to ensure that Rose survives. As the icy waters close in on him, Jack dies, leaving Rose alone in the freezing night. The story then jumps to the present day, where an elderly Rose, now in her 80s, is recounting her story to treasure hunters who are searching for a priceless necklace, the heart of the ocean, that was lost with the Titanic. Rose reveals that she threw the necklace into the ocean, letting go of the past and honoring Jack's memory. She then remembers how she survived and lived a full life, eventually finding peace. The final scene shows an elderly Rose returning to the site of the Titanic wreck. As she closes her eyes, she imagines herself back aboard the Titanic, walking up the grand staircase. There, in a beautiful, poignant moment, she reunites with Jack. Their love, even in death, is eternal, and as they embrace, the Titanic sinks into the deep, dark waters below, symbolizing the end of an era but the enduring power of love and sacrifice. The story of the Titanic is more than just a tale of a ship sinking. It's about love, sacrifice, and the resilience of the human spirit. It reminds us that life is fragile and unpredictable, but it's also about living fully, finding connections with others, and leaving behind a legacy that will be remembered forever. Jack and Rosie's love story will live on as a symbol of how love can survive even the most impossible of circumstances. Thank you for joining me on this incredible journey through the story of the Titanic. I hope this tale of love, loss, and survival has inspired you, just as it has inspired millions around the world. And remember, as you continue learning English, let the power of storytelling be a guide on your path to success. Keep exploring, keep growing, and most importantly, keep believing in the power of perseverance and hope. Until next time, this is Fast English, signing off.